Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, and I am here to tell you my story on why I chose to go to Job Corp. Well, I was 18 years old. I had lost my brother the beginning of that year. I had lost my boyfriend, not like he didn't die, but we broke up, and I wound up getting with who I'm married to now, my husband. And then me and him had broke up. He actually was messing around with another woman while he was with me. And y'all, I did my research, okay? I went in his phone and I seen her name, which was under my wife. And I called her as like a job. And not at the time that I get the number, I waited like a week or two. And I called her like a job. And I was just like, um, where do you live? What's your name? Blah, blah. So, well, not what's your name, but I was like, where do you live? Your last name? I think I asked her like if she was to be able to take the job, what kind of does she have a vehicle? And she was like, yeah, I have a vehicle. And I was like, are you renting? Are you owning? Blah blah blah. Just asking her all these different questions just to like see like to compare and contrast like why he's talking to her and me at the same time. So then I wound up breaking up with him, and then I was just like at home one day crying because I really loved him, and I was crying and I was like, oh my gosh, like there has to be something. Like there has to be something out there. Like the girl was in college. She had her own car. She was living by herself. Me, I was a high school dropout. A high school dropout. I dropped out of school in the 11th grade, like the end of my 11th grade year. I I lived with my grandma. I worked at a food joint. My car was wrecked. Um, Basically from crying over him. That's a whole story within itself. And then it was just like my life at that time was just like spiraling out of control. I was in a depression from losing my brother. I was depressed from breaking up with my boyfriend, and I was just like, I need a change. So I wound up calling like Job Corp. Now, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, so whenever I lived in Pittsburgh, we was like me and my friends used to go on campus, like on Job Corp's campus in Pittsburgh, and it was super easy. So I was like, well, maybe I can just go to Job Corps down here. I wonder if they got a Job Corps down here. I live in Kentucky. So I was like, okay, let me call around and see. So I wound up finding out the number, and I had an appointment. I called, like, my birthday was December 6th. I called the 10th, had an appointment the 15th of December, got enrolled January. So once I got to Job Corps, you were able to be non-res or res, like I talked about in my previous video. I decided that I wanted to be non-res because I can drive. So I'd rather like just drive to the place and they come pick me up and then take me to school. And I wound up going to Job Corps for a high school diploma and a trade. So I what did I do? Okay, so yeah, I met this girl. We both smoked, and we both like was trying to get ourselves on the right path. So we became really cool friends, and she wound up being my OT sister. OT sister is just somebody that comes into orientation with you. It's about like 20 of y'all. Sometimes it could be 15. Sometimes it could be more. So it was about like 18, 19 of us. So me and her was close because we were both non-res. Everybody else was from out of town, and it was residential. So me and her became really close, and I wound up missing a day because I didn't miss a day. I wound up being late because I missed the bus. So I drove myself to school that day, and I came into class, and there was this light-skinned dude. So I was already butt hurt over my boyfriend and breaking up with him, that when I seen this light-skinned dude, he was really tall, he was light-skinned, he wasn't really cute, but he was just my type. So I was like, yes, okay, I like Job Corps, which he was my OT brother. So I wound up just being me, and me and him wound up talking. The girl that I told you I met, AA, she she wound up talking to his friend. So we was like, okay, when you go to Job Corps, Like before you graduate from out of your orientation, they take you on a trip with all your OT brothers and sisters. So we all went to where did we go? We all went to a skating rink, just skating around, have fun and whatever. And then they wound up going back to campus, and we were getting like, it was a Friday, so we was getting calls and everything like, oh yeah, your boyfriend's up here and he's talking to this chick and blah blah blah. So I called her and I'm like, hey, our dudes is up there talking to other girls while we at home chilling. I said, what you want to go res? So she was like, yeah. So I was really non-residential for like a week, probably, running up after some boy. So then me and her wound up getting up there and becoming residential. Now, the pros and the cons of residential and non-res, the non-res, the pros, you'll be at home. You could do what you want. You could work where you want. You could all of that, and you ain't gotta worry about like if you sick, you can stay at home, whatever. Now, when you're residential, like if you're sick, you have to wake up and go to what is it called? Wellness. So it's like it's like a little wellness center on campus where you go and you get checked like your temperature, or if you got a cold or whatever, they give you medicine. You're not allowed to stay in the dorms. Also, when you wake up in the morning, you have to make sure your bed is made, and it's just not just made any kind of way. You have to make sure your bed is made like military way. So like I said, there's no staying in the dorms. Food, like you can't eat at all hours. Like you have to eat before 9. So like although you're getting 3 meals a day, which the food is good, having food and using the microwave, it has to be used before 9. And then you gotta think like you're sharing a dorm with like 100 girls or more, and you gotta wait for this one microwave to be finished. It's one microwave plus 3 different halls, like A hall, B hall, C hall. So whatever, we didn't know about none of that. So we wound up actually becoming residential, moving in the same room. So she was my roommate, and at the time I was still smoking weed, so we were both still smoking. And then it was like, they'll drop you. They was like, they'll drop you at any time. Like basically you have to take a P test at any time. So I was just so nervous, y'all. Like I've been smoking weed since I was 12 years old. So I'm like, oh my gosh, to try to give up weed, I was like, it's either my future or the now. So me and all my roommates and like everybody in my hall, I was in B hall. So, wasn't it A? I was in A hall, I'm sorry. So me and all my roommates and stuff, we was in my dorm room and we was like out the window smoking weed and whatever. And just having a good time. Like I enjoyed myself. Me and my boyfriend, we up there, we, you know, always continually got into it because he was so overprotective of me, y'all. Like he was so like aggressive, and it was just too much. It was just too much for me because a lot of the guys up there like me. Like you get new students every Tuesday, so a lot of the guys up there like me, and I was just like, no, I'd rather just be with somebody that I came in with than be with somebody that's been up here and then had sex with all these different people up here. So I had to deal with whatever he had going on. But in the midst of me dealing with whatever he had going on, my previous boyfriend, who's my husband now, was calling me and was like, hey, how you doing? You want me to bring you up some stuff? So he used to bring me up snacks and stuff. We used to have like, it was the winter time, y'all, so we had like this we had this big old snowball fight. Like the whole, like there is 3 boy dorms to 1 girl dorm. So it was snowing really bad. So people couldn't come up, like the teachers couldn't come up. Some of the people couldn't come up to the campus. So it was just like no school that day. So everybody put their boots on. We all went outside. They was running in our dorm throwing snowballs. We was running outside throwing snowballs. When I tell you, I had a ball in Job Corp. Had a ball in Job Corp, okay? Had a ball. So at this time, I was really playing and messing around because, like, when you take your test up there, like, they're very important. And I didn't think that. Like, my teacher told me, like, oh, yeah, just go ahead, don't worry about it. So me and my boyfriend, bro, we flirting with each other. Like, he's rubbing on my leg, I'm rubbing on him, he's kissing me, I'm kissing him. We just, we just doing the most in the classroom while taking the test. So when we got the test back, a lot of people passed, and they put like, I think I had like a second grade or something. They was like, "Girl, how did you make it?" And I was like, "I was not paying attention to that test." So the thing is, you get these cards, okay? Once you take a test, you get these cards. And the cards are like bronze level, white level, gold level, silver level. It's like these different levels. Yeah, I was on white level. White level means you can't go nowhere, you can't do nothing, because I'm up here all over this dude. So I tell you this: if you are not in a relationship when you go up there, don't get in no relationship when you're up there. If you're in a relationship with somebody off campus, at home, just keep that relationship. Don't get in a relationship with somebody on campus. So I was on white level. I couldn't go home on the weekends. I couldn't go nowhere. So I wound up shadowing 3 trades, and then I chose the trade that I wanted, which was CNA. I also was in GD. I didn't like GD because, like, although the teacher communicated with me, I'm not that good at math. So I mean, I'm not bad at math. Like, I just ain't like no mathematician. So like, math is just something that I just could care less about. So I wound up being like, okay, I want to go to high school diploma. So they moved me to high school diploma. So you have the options of either taking a whole week of high school diploma and then the following week of CNA, or half a week CNA and half a week high school diploma. So at first I did the whole week CNA. I was like, okay, this is going to be easy because all I got is 2 credits and I can blast out a high school diploma. Wrong. If you are up there, you have to have 7, I think they give you 7 credits or something like that. Like, you have to have 7 more credits than what you have coming up there. So that was the whole thing too. Okay, so me and my boyfriend wound up, like, me and Brandon is my husband. We wound up, talking on the phone or whatever. And then he never told me that he was coming up there. When he came up there, he brought me some food and whatever. And then he never told me he was coming up there. One day, me and my boyfriend, his name starts with A. At the time, we had got into it because he was like, no, you need to be in a dorm. You don't need to be out here, and you don't need to be having these boys looking at you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, ain't nobody looking at them. I'm not worried about them. And he was like, they like you and they want to be with you, and you're mine. And, blah. And he was like, basically telling me, get in the dorm. He grabbed my shirt like this, threw me up against the wall, and he said, no, you need to be in the dorm. I said, nigga, okay. I said, you know what? I got you. So we wound up breaking up, and then I continued talking to Brandon. And then after that, I was going to the cafeteria one day. It was lunchtime. I was going to the cafeteria. No, it was actually dinner because it was after school. So I was going to the cafeteria, and this dude I've never seen him on campus before, but he said he'd been there for like a month or 2. So he was like, hey, little bit. That's what they called me. That was my nickname up there because I was really small. I was like skinny and short. So they was like, hey, he was like, hey, little bit. Let me talk to you. So me and him started talking. They had a dance coming up in February, and he wanted to go with me. So my ex-boyfriend, was up there telling everybody that we had sex, telling everybody like all this stuff about me, like spreading rumors about me, and it was just really bad. And dude wasn't with it. And he was like, you may not be my girl, but you like my girl, so he's not going to disrespect you. So one day I'm going into the gym, and him and all his friends, my ex-boyfriend, and all his friends was like standing around. So he picks me up, he puts me on his shoulder, and he's smacking my butt like this. And he's letting all these dudes smack my butt. So the dude that I was talking to, I'm gonna call him D, he came in and he was like, hey, put her down. So they get in a whole fight. He tells me go back to the dorm. He's like, I don't want nothing to happen to you, go back to the dorm. So I was like, okay. So I was really like liking him, y'all. Like, I really did like him. And whenever it got close to the dance to come up, he had told me like I gotta go home because my brother got into some trouble and he was like he needs this more than I do. So he was like, just give me a number, we can keep in touch, blah blah blah. And I was really hurt because I was like, dude, this is like a dude that I really like. Like nobody talked to him, nobody really knew nothing about him, and it was kind of like he wanted me. So, anyways, so I called Brandon, my husband now, and I'm like trying to get in touch with him, and his stepdad answers the phone, and his stepdad is like, "Hey, um, thank you so much for introducing Job Corp to Brandon because um, Brandon, you know, he'll be up there." Now Brandon never told me he was coming up there. So I was like, oh, for real? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, thank you so much for introducing, Job Corp to him or whatever. And I was like, you're welcome, up. It's nothing. And he was like, now I like you. Because at first he didn't like me. So he was like, now I like you. So he's like, but don't tell him he's coming up. Don't tell him I told you he's coming up there. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I go around to everybody on campus and I'm like, hey, my man's coming up here. Don't try to talk to him. Blah, blah, blah. I became a mentor. And becoming a mentor, whenever the new people come up, you're able to be in there and you're able to be like, have first dibs on the new people, like to see them, meet them, be their mentor. Like if they need anything or if anything happens to them, you could be able to be there. So I was a mentor. I suggest you be a mentor. So he came up. I met everybody in his class, and I just went around every table, keeping it real. I was just keeping it real with him. Like, you're very pretty. Like, talking to the girls, I'm like, okay, you're very pretty. You're going to have haters up here. There's going to be people that's going to constantly try to get you in trouble. I want you to keep your head on straight and narrow, blah, blah, blah. So whenever you go around, you talk to all the kids and stuff, you meet them. So I go up, and I'm standing there, and, like, they were like, who do you want to be a mentor? Uh, do you want this one? So they're picking people like this, and then they get to me, and like half his class was like, I want her. So I had so many people that I had to mentor. It was crazy. So this fool, which is my husband now, he was going around to people on campus. Everybody was like, my roommates, like a lot of people knew me. I was very popular, not like popular like that, but like I had a nickname. Everybody knew who I was. So they was like, that's Lil Bit's man's here. Like, don't go talk to him. Like, everybody who knew me was like, you better not talk to him. So while I'm telling everybody he's my dude, he's telling everybody that we ain't together. Dude, so many chicks wanted him. And I was so mad. And I was like, y'all better not talk to him. Like, he's mine. Like, y'all not gonna talk to him. So then me and him wound up talking and getting an understanding with each other. Like, we are together. Like, when I go home, you going home with me. So we wound up being together. But basically, my experience at Job Corps, like, I was only up there for 6 months. I got my high school diploma. I got my high school diploma, and I got my certified nurses assistant, so CNA. And I left with $1,200. My husband was such a big help for me because it gets to be rough. Okay, remember how I told y'all like I took CNA for like a whole week. So I had like one of the worst CNA teachers. And she kept starting over. She kept starting over on the book. Like, we get to chapter 5. She goes back to chapter 1 for the new people who's coming into the class. And I'm like, dude, I need to get up out of here. So I wound up switching classes. I was just like, it just began to be like way too much for me. And I was getting depressed. And my husband was there for me. And I remember one day we were like outside talking, and he proposed to me with a ring pop actually. And he was just like, I love you and I want to be with you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Do you want to be with me? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, will you marry me? And I said, when? And he was like, I don't know when. He was like, I'm about to be a welder. I'm about to be making money. When we leave here, he's like, I want us to be together. I want us to live together. I want us to blah, 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 have a family, whatever. And I was like, okay, yes. And then he put the little ring pop on my finger. So one day I wound up getting hungry and I ate it, but I kept the little like ring pop part. So anyways, but That's basically like my time in Job Corps. Like it was fun. I enjoyed it. I loved it. The food was good. The money, like every 2 weeks, you get paid $25 every 2 weeks. And since I had so many guys that liked me, I never really had to spend my check on food. Like dudes always like there was two places that we could order from, which was a Chinese place and an Italian place. And dudes always ordered me food. And then once my boyfriend, which is my husband now, got up there, he wound up ordering me food with his money because he wound up working on campus. So I may have him tell his story about Job Corps and being on campus. But anyways, like I said, like keep your head on the straight and narrow. Don't go up there willing to be in no relationship. Go make sure you have fun, but also go up there willing to get your stuff and get out. Like you can't be up there playing. I've had roommates that was up there for 2 years. I had roommates that was up there for 6 months, got GED, high school diploma, driver's license, and trade. So you can do it. You know what I'm saying? But thank you for listening to my story. More story times coming soon. I'm getting sleepy. It's late at night.